Hi guys, welcome to this glamorous location. You are, of course, We Came From Wolves. Just like to introduce yourselves.
Hello Eddie, my name's Kyle. I'm the singer and rhythm guitarist in We Came From Wolves.
And I'm Harrison and I play the drums.
Cool. You've just released an EP. What can you tell us about this?
Let's do it.
Well, it's really a follow-on from our first EP, which is called Cope. We always try and write about what we know, so it's pretty largely based around our old hometown of Perth. We all live in Glasgow now, apart from Rob, because he's lazy. And really it's just tales and accounts of different aspects of small town community and life, why you would want to move, why that place is poisonous. I'm sure a lot of us have all gone through the same sort of things, and just moving on and trying to get a little better life for yourself. That's really what it's like.
Yeah. What has the response been then to this release?
It's been really good so far. Like it's quite a different kind of. It's not like totally a different style from Cope, but it's definitely different. But so there's always maybe like the slight worry that some of the older fans might have kind of like what's this, don't like it. But it seems to be sort of the old fans are still digging it, but then other people maybe who weren't as interested before are also kind of getting on board. So it's been really good. We've had a couple of nice reviews as well, so it's going well.
I think the video has helped as well. Not just the video, but you know, you've got songs, you're trying to get them out there to people who, you know, it's a very a very full world just now. You know, you put on Facebook, you're putting up music and stuff like that. It's hard to troll through. Everybody's guilty of it. You see a band you like, you know, you might still scroll past because everything's really on the pulse. So we're really proud of our video we've put up for the single and the title track from the EP, Paradise Place. And I think a lot of people have been engaged by that, and then consequently obviously have been listening to the song through that, which has then got them into the other songs. So it's been a good knock on from the video.
Yeah. How did you enjoy the sold out EP launch then?
It's good, yeah.
It was so nice just for like obviously like playing a part at the shows just like feels such a good feeling. Even like before, like just watching like support bands, just like it was even just the stress of doing a gig when like the element of will anybody show up is removed. It's just infinitely nicer than any other sort of preparation you could have. We were all in it, everything went according to plan, there were no real hiccups, and it was just even just like from the moment we walked on we kind of knew it was going to be a good one. It was amazing all the way through. It was a really good response, so yeah.
I mean, we're very aware that, you know, we're not talking like sold out the Arches or sold out the Garage, but you know, we've all come from a place where we can sell out, you know, in Perth. And we've come here, and you know, I've got a lot of respect for a lot of the Glasgow bands. I think there's so many great bands and more importantly great people in this town, but it can be pretty cliquey for an outsider. And we've never subscribed to that back in our hometown either. There's a lot of DIY scenes and things like that, and while I respect fully everything that they do, I've never wanted to pigeonhole myself into one kind of group of people, and we've always sought to just kind of do our own thing, not to say, you know, fuck you, just to do our own thing. So we need to make our start in Glasgow, and we've played loads of times obviously, and it's not been sold out, but we've worked really hard on this EP. It's got a really good response, so to open it up with a sold out show, it's, you know, we're going to be trying to, you know, build up our gigs from there, and not just try and aim straight away for places that we're going to be empty, you know.
Yeah. What would you say is the most important aspect of We Came From Wolves?
I'd say honesty. I always say that when people ask us what the songs are. Honesty and vibe. We'll go for vibe. It's quite hard for me not to be self-conscious when we play and things like that. I have 100% polar opposites, from confidence virgin to outsiders on arrogance, but it's definitely not. I just get really into things with my best friends, and then I go from that scale to like crippling anxiety, you know, when I can't take my eyes off my shoes. So recently, you know, the guys, you know, have just been reinforcing that, you know, they're behind me and we just need to have a good time. So recently we've definitely been pouring the vibe before shows and just getting into it. But yeah, I would never want to sing about anything that isn't real to us, or something I'm commenting on. So yeah, I think that helps when we all know the subject matter, and we can all relate to it within the band. We can have a great time. It's an old cliche, but we really believe in what we're doing, so if other people do as well, that's awesome, but that's the main thing for us.
Well, you were a bit quiet over 2013. Why was this, and how's that affected you coming into this EP launch now?
Do you want me to start and all?
Yeah, I don't want to be hogging it all, but this is kind of just... Well, Harrison and Taylor, his brother, only recently joined the band. I say recently, they've had 100% everything to do with the songs that are out now. This last year we've been working really hard, the four of us, so they're not new members at all. It's just we've only just come back to play these songs, so to the public they may be newer members, but their hard work's been instrumental in everything that we're bringing out now. But 2012, 13, I'm losing dates, but the last year, the year following Cope and an amazing tour we had, after Cope, a 30-day tour across the UK. Our lead guitarist at the time, Greg, had the news that he was going to have a baby, and our drummer at the time, John, was going off to do other projects which he enjoyed, so we just thought at that time, you know, me and Rob were really just dedicated on this, and we didn't want side projects, and we didn't have other things going on like that, so we made the decision that we would need to get two guys in who wanted to focus solely on that as well. It was a no-brainer that we wanted Taylor and Harrison in because we knew them from the scene, great guys and great musicians, and it's went, you know, better than I could have ever expected in terms of personalities, writing styles, and what they've brought to the table. So once they were in, you can maybe finish why it was quiet, all behind the scenes, the process.
Like for me, it was kind of a weird process because like my brother Taylor stood in on the Cope tour, so I was kind of like kind of got a foot in to the band first, and then when he kind of got the news that he was maybe required to take over permanently, I was kind of like a little bit, I don't know, jealous maybe. I was just thinking that'd be kind of cool for me as well, and then it just kind of serendipitously kind of came around, and I kind of jokingly thought, oh, that'd be cool, and then when it was when it was probably offered, I was like, definitely up for it. And for Taylor and I being together as well, we've always played we've both been playing since we were really small, living together, we're still together now, so it's I think for us it'd be really important to we've tried kind of ventures without each other, but it's kind of, we always enjoy playing with each other mainly. But then once we got going, it was just kind of a lot of hard work. The summer we spent just rehearsing a lot, rehearsing and writing. There were some songs that were already kind of had demos of and stuff, so it was kind of learning them and then writing new songs and seeing what we wanted to do. But it was kind of we didn't play any shows for us, didn't want to come out and do a show too early, so we rehearsed a lot and got it really, so we were happy with how the songs were sounding, all set to record and stuff before we actually did any shows. And then it was kind of into the studio with Bruce Rintoul in Glasgow, and then didn't do any shows until we did a wee run of shows.
Yeah, we played kind of four, we called them pre-release shows. I'm not a fan of this, you know, we're going on tour and it's 4 days, you know, it was just a little run of shows, but they were really good, they were really tight, and they gave us the first kind of experience together of getting in the van and driving up to Aberdeen and going back to Perth and doing things like that. But every show was nut tight, I think you would say. And we worked on pre-production in, you know, to lengths that we never had before. You know, it was probably one of the hottest summers ever last year, and I travelled back to Perth because all the boys were there at that point, and would spend, you know, 9 in the morning till tea time, till the sun started going down, and got the train home, just locked in a bedroom, just getting every single drum hit, you know, what kind of rhythm. You don't need this sometimes in music, sometimes it just flows good, but every time I'm doing a palm mute or a hit, the drum, the bass, what is every single thing doing, which may come naturally to a lot of bands, but you know, we love bands like, you know, the Cribs, who, you know, it's meant to be not like that, but for these kind of songs we just wanted them all on the button, and yeah, that set us up for where we are now, you know, rehearsing. We've just kind of carried on with that vibe, and yeah, so it was a lot of hard work, that's why we were quiet. It wasn't that nothing was happening, it just wasn't happening out front.
It just let us make the most of the recording as well. So those 4 days were 4 or 5 days.
Yeah.
Where just like we were worrying about the important stuff and just getting it. Whereas like we'd all sorting up over it. Nobody was like, "What am I playing this bit?" Not really
nobody.
Sure. It was all absolutely dialed in. We'd had weeks and weeks of pre-production, so
every take was really a winner. It was just a case of it was probably made it a lot easier for Bruce because he loves the production side of things, and he was able to say just run through it. You know, what about this idea? What about that idea? Rather than having to waste time nailing your takes. You know.
It's a bit of an old cliche, but could you describe the band in 5 words?
No.
Yeah. That's one. Yeah.
that doesn't count.
We've already visited honest. Like definitely honest.
Like, honest, catchy, melodic, alternative rock.
There you go.
That's 5.
Nice. Will we see that on the banner soon?
We've
Bumper sticker.
It's already printed up there.
It's already printed up.
Yeah.
Well, moving into slightly sillier areas now. We'd like to have a bit of fun. What's your favourite condiment?
I used to be a massive salad cream fan, but I kind of went off it and now I'm just a tomato ketchup sort of guy.
Nice and simple.
I'm hot sauce. I'm quite a hot sauce connoisseur, Eddie. Right now I'm on a bottle called Satan's Sweat.
Oh.
Yeah, that's right. But I did find out it is very hot, but don't ever heat that shit up. I was cooking a steak and I poured it on, and I don't know if it just activates with the heat, but I was coughing my lungs up. I couldn't see. I had to open the window. I had to keep the cats out of the kitchen. So yeah, hot sauce. Like, you know, we had a 50 wing challenge at the weekend before our Perth show.
It wasn't a challenge, it was easy.
Yeah, it was. But yeah, the boys were finding.
Enough for Taylor.
The boys were finding the Frank's hot sauce a little bit spicy, but I was pouring that shit on.
Couple of quick fires now. Pepsi or Coke?
Coke.
Pepsi. Pepsi.
Controversial.
Pie or pizza?
Pizza.
Pizza.
Club or a gig?
Gig.
Sorry, like,
then club.
You mean going out or playing a gig?
Yeah, well, like going to. So, like for a night out, club or a gig?
Ah, right, okay. Gig, definitely. For me.
Yeah, gig.
Yeah.
Cool. If it's a good gig.
I don't dance. I'd rather stand by the bar watching a band and be awkward on the
I like
dance
to do
floor.
both though, because you can usually work out time.
This man's smooth.
Gig finished like 11:30. Perfect.
Yeah.
Stream
Far enough.
life, mate.
Hand for a penis or penises for fingers? Harris came up with this one.
Fucking unbelievable.
Yeah, no comment.
just to avoid any blame.
I mean, I don't really want to be quoted on this, but if I had to, I'd definitely go for a hand for a penis, because it's a lot more, as a utensil, it's the Swiss Army knife of body parts, whereas penises for fingers, I mean, that's not viable. How sore would calluses are fine on your fingertips, but new strings, bell ends, no.
Nah.
No.
That's not really what I'm thinking about.
A hand penis, please.
We'll get right on that. Get the scientists working.
Yeah.
What would you say if you could have the choice out of all the musicians in the world? What would be your ideal supergroup?
Are we doing this together or separately?
Well, you can either do separately or come up with individual battle of the bands.
Well, I'll do mine's because mine's from my point of view is all going to be great singers or lyricists or melodists. Melodists? I don't know. There is a word for it.
Melody.
People who are great at melody, but
Melodiologist?
I'd take Paul McCartney on bass. Not an unbelievable bass player, but king of melody. Alex Turner and Jesse Lacey on guitar, because they can both sing, both brilliant lyricists. Up front, number 9, Morrissey on vocals, again, lyricist. Drums, Aaron Gillespie from Under Oath, because he's an amazing singer. So there you go. They'd be like, what is that, 5-piece? 5-way harmonies of the best lyrics ever.
I'd probably go for favourite drummer at the moment. It's a guy called Fred Boswell Jr. He doesn't he's not like in a band that anyone would heard, just a really amazing drummer. So we should check him out. So him at the back. On bass maybe John Paul Jones. He'd probably do a pretty good job. On lead guitar I would have Allowed to Be Dead.
Yeah.
That was okay. Cool. I would have Irish blues guitarist by the name of Rory Gallagher on lead, and that would be it. I'd just have him, 3-piece, him singing as well. Would be a pretty mean combo.
3-piece, eh?
Yeah.
Well, while we work on putting them together, what band that is currently a band, what would you take on tour? Your kind of ideal lineup for a set of shows?
Are we talking like realistically here, or
Yeah,
Who you'd like to support,
yeah.
who we would want to support?
Oh,
we would
like,
want to take
you guys
on-
could be anywhere in the bill, just who you'd like to go and tour with, play a couple shows.
You know what? I'd love to go on tour with the Twin Boys purely
that'd be
because,
They're nice
yeah, we were recording at 45 Aside, and they actually came in a couple of times. They're friends with Bruce, and their lockup is right next to ours. Obviously the music isn't too dissimilar, but you know it's different enough. It's not the same kind of guitar and music, but obviously we're all rocking the Scottish thing. But yeah, they seem like good guys. They'd come up from their Leeds set and popped in to see how things were going and that. And them and Biffy obviously are just anybody in a Scottish band, whether you like their music or not. They're just great examples of what can be done from a wee shithole called Scotland. You know, I love my country, but it's just a rainy crabbit place, and the fact that these guys are going and rocking it out in, you know, France and America and Australia all the time. Yeah, it'd be good to go with them. Show us the ropes.
Yeah, definitely.
Moving on now then, the EP come out, you got the EP launch. What kind of plans have you got the next few months?
Right, so this week on Friday we're going on tour, which is the first tour with the new lineup. So that's a couple weeks of starting in Aberdeen and then working our way down England, and then a show in Paris and a show in Karlsruhe in Germany, which I'm really looking forward to. So that'll be really great fun, I'm sure. Then we've got a few more shows end of April in Scotland as well. And then we'll just be continuing on our writing process for our album, which we're aiming to have finished by the end of summer in terms of writing, and then into the winter it'll be the recording process. We've already got some tracks down that we're really chuffed with, so there'll be lots of continuing on with that. Hopefully some more shows, hopefully a few festivals, and then yeah.
In terms of next year, our manager's wanting us to get the writing done by the end of the summer, so we can record through winter. As Harrison was saying, at the moment we're typically banging out a new song every session, so and they're a different kind of vibe. They're more along the Paradise Place vibe compared to maybe your Bastard Sons and Copes and stuff like that. However, we'll never obviously total drift away from things like that. It's just maybe, I don't know if it's going to be a concept album or anything, but definitely sounds a little more darker, seductive kind of sounds.
I think there's definitely, in the new stuff, there's kind of a real kind of linkage and coherence. So far, the songs we've written, they're all going to hopefully blend really nicely on the album. So
dark, maybe the word dark chocolate.
Yeah, dark chocolate.
Dark chocolate.
Mm.
Can we have that as a sixth word then to describe the band? Just a nice little
Dark, perhaps.
with a hyphen maybe.
I don't know if it'll suit what's gone before, but
Not yet. Next time.
maybe
Next time we'll add dark.
maybe we're putting on the Venom suit. The Venom suit. Spider-Man is no more.
Mm.
Ooh.
That's
Well, that sounds exciting times, guys. Lots planned over the next year.
yeah.
Thank you very much for having a chat.
Thanks
Thanks
very
for
much,
having
Eddie.
us. Cheers.
Thank you now.
Cheers, guys.